the response by the government is so key. The former president understands that, and it isn't true. And the fact that you found that Governor Kemp soundbite of him saying that he actually did speak with President Biden.
Whatever you need, literally is what he said.
And I just saw before coming on, the Trump campaign started a GoFundMe site for people in need. So they're doing everything that they can. And that's sort of, from his perspective, the right politics here. And when you look at the reality and you know this because you were in the Bush White House, when you are a president or a vice president, the best thing you can do in the immediate aftermath when you have floods, and you also know this as a Floridian, and all kinds of wreckage, is to do as much as you can from afar. Because when a president or a vice president goes into a situation like that, I was with George W. Bush when he finally went into Katrina. It is a huge operation that you need. It takes away emergency services from people who need it.
I think the optics of this over the weekend for Biden and Harris have been pretty poor. I mean, North Carolina is underwater. These people are devastated and struggling. But you've got Biden at the beach and then saying, "What do you want from me? I got on the phone while I was at the beach." And you've got Harris out raising money on the campaign and then taking a photo on a plane. Now, I remember George W. Bush was pilloried for having a photo taken from Air Force One. She's got a photo on a plane, and the earphones don't appear to be connected to the phone, and the paper looks like it's blank. So it looked like a stage sort of thing. I thought the optics for them were very bad.
Bush, he was looking over.
He was looking at. George Bush was looking at Air Force One.
You don't have to tell me I was there, brother.
No, exactly.
I just actually, Keith, I mean, because I want to just be clear about what Scott is talking about. President Biden was in Rehoboth this weekend, and yes, he had briefings. There were paper statements put out, but we did not hear from him about this until today. And there is an optics element to it. Just let's take Trump out of the picture for a second. There's an optics element to it about the president sending a message to the people affected in many, many, many states in this country that he's on top of it.
Well, part of the presidency is performative. We know that. And that means you do need to be able to, the people need to see you doing your job. And we also know the president has been doing his job. We know that FEMA sent 3,300 personnel. We know that FEMA Director Criswell is on the ground in North Carolina. We know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have spoken to Governor Roy Cooper in North Carolina and Governor Brian Kemp in Georgia. We know that Governor McMaster has said in South Carolina that he's gotten all the resources he needs to be able to handle the situation in that state. The Biden administration is effectively handling this. They're just not politicizing it as Donald Trump is. Donald Trump chose to take a natural disaster and weaponize it for political gain. Just the same way he did with the Haitian immigrants or the crisis in Niger or the COVID crisis. Donald Trump takes every issue, every problem, and makes it worse by making it about himself and making it political. Why
is Trump politicizing this? I mean, people are literally still trying to get out from under the water right now.
I don't think he's politicizing it at all. He's responding to the crisis. Dana just came out, I didn't even know this, thank you for reporting, that the Trump campaign has come out with a GoFundMe page for the people who are affected. He's on the ground to actually talk directly to the people who are being impacted on day one. And I do understand what it means when a president comes in. My district was hit 2 years ago, the same time period with Hurricane Ian. Joe Biden came to Southwest Florida. You know, we toured some damage. The real implications are going to be what happens when the president leaves or when the cameras turn to the next thing. Is FEMA going to still do the job necessary by those communities? Are local communities going to get the resources they need? Because I'll tell you, and I don't want to cut you off.
And I would argue that is actually more often what does happen, is that FEMA continues to work even when everybody else moves on. You know that.
I do know this, but what I will also add, and I'm just speaking specifically for my district, I was there going over some of the issues we had from Hurricane Helene. My local towns, cities, are still waiting for FEMA to approve them to actually get back some of the money they're supposed to get from Hurricane Ian. That is still an issue right now with FEMA. So I don't want to politicize it, but there are optics around storms. Joe Biden not being on the beach and not at least going there and making a public statement directly to camera is a serious problem indicative of this White House.
You didn't want him to go there now.
Yeah, I mean,
you said go there.
No, but I mean, just responding directly to the American people.
But like Abby said,
I agree with the optics and the importance of showing up. But let me just ask the two of you a question. What does Biden and Harris have to gain by ignoring the very real concerns of voters in two crucial swing states 35 days before an election?
No, and I want to be clear on this. It's not about what do you have to gain.
But why would they
It's-
do that?
No, but it's much more about the operations, what I've seen as a member of Congress, of this administration. This administration, when crisis happens, we're dealing with Helene, but when crisis happens, they don't address them head on.
But you just heard from two governors who are grateful for everything that this administration has done.
So let's
I'm not talking about the behind the
Hang on a
scenes
second.
talk.
Let's
I'm
not
talking
talk
about
about
what-
generalities here because I think it's important to be
Well, no, I'm not-
clear.
I'm not-
Factually, everybody
Right.
has said, official-wise, that they've gotten what they've asked for.
Right.
Right? And the only person making an accusation that people are not getting what they've asked for is Trump, falsely claiming that the administration is withholding resources because of political affiliation. That is just not true.
As somebody who has been through now 3 hurricanes in my district, I will tell you, getting a call saying you can have everything you need and some of the initial help coming from FEMA is one thing. It is the day-by-day follow-up, making sure that stuff is implemented on the ground is something completely different. And I've been through this on the ground in my own district.
That's not
so
the point she's making,
No,
though.
no. But the point,
Right. I mean,
but
I
the
just want to be
point-
clear. That is.
But Abby-
I'm talking about we're 5 days after this
Yeah,
has happened.
yeah.
Right at this moment, the question is: are these areas getting what they need from the federal government? Is the answer
The question
yes or no
the
based
question
on
I
the
will tell
available
you is
information that
the
we
question
have?
the answer I will give you is unconclusive. They have it initially. The reason why I say that is because you have to have a commander in chief who has his finger or her finger on the pulse day in, day out to make sure the
I just
agencies
wanna
are doing that work.
I want to remind
That's
everybody.
why leadership
Let me
is
just
critical.
remind everybody
That's
that
why
in
leadership is critical.
2016, Donald Trump was the president. He was accused of rejecting 99% of the federal aid requests for Hurricane Matthew
2017.
from
Roy Cooper.
Roy Cooper. And the accusation was that it was because they are in opposite political parties. So that also happened.
Yep.
Donald Trump did that in 2017. Donald Trump politicized every natural disaster we could think of. Remember when the hurricane was supposedly headed to Alabama? He took the Sharpie and drew on the NOAA map to pretend like he was going where it wasn't. Remember when he went to Puerto Rico and threw paper towels at people? He's the performative president. He doesn't believe in the get your hands dirty and do the real work of the presidency. He wants to be on camera and show that he's pretending to do the job of the presidency.